Okay, so function operations, this is the first day. We'll spend another day tomorrow on this. So we are given g of x is equal to x squared plus 4x, h of x is 2x, and we want to find g of 6 plus h of 6. Okay, so we're going to first find g of 6 by taking the 6 and putting it into the place where the x is in this equation. So we have 6 squared plus 4 times 6. Does that make sense? So 36 minus plus 24, which equals 60. Then we're going to find our h of 6. And that would be 2 times 6, or 12. And so we want to find g of 6 plus h of 6. So we're going to take those two answers and we are going to add them together. So the g of 6 is 60. Actually, let me do that up above. 60 plus the h of 6, which is 12, and that gives us 72. So our g of 6 plus h of 6 is 72. Does that make sense? Okay, now we're going to find g of 8 divided by f of 8. So our g of 8, substituting the 8 into the a, would be 2 multiplied by 8 plus 1. 16 plus 1, or 17. And then the f of 8, 2 times 8 squared minus 2. So tell me on this, what do I do first? Do I do the multiplication, 2 times 8 first, or do I do the 8 squared first? 8 squared, because PEMDAS, that's right. So PEMDAS is parentheses, exponent, then multiplication and division. So we have to do that exponent, that 8 squared, 64, 2 times 64, minus 2, 128 minus 2, or 126. So now we are taking g of 8 and dividing it by f of 8. So g of 8 is 17. F of 8 is 126. If we could simplify that fraction, we would. Can it be simplified? No. So that's our answer. Pretty straightforward. Okay, good. Okay, next one, we're going to find g of negative 3 times h of negative 3. So let's first find g of negative 3. And then when I put that in, I put parentheses around the negative 3. Do I need to put parentheses around the negative 3 before I square it? Yeah, otherwise I get a different answer. Without that parentheses, it's a different answer than if we have. Thank you. Thank you. So we want to take negative 3 quantity squared, which is what? When we have the parentheses there, what do we get for the negative 3 parentheses? We get positive 9 minus 2. If we did not have those parentheses, it would be negative 9. So that's why we have to put the parentheses around it, because we're squaring the negative 3. Does that make sense? Okay, and now we're going to find the h of negative 3. And that would be 3 times negative 3 minus 4, negative 9 minus 4. And what's negative 9 minus 4? Negative 13. like plus a negative. So now we are doing this operation here. What does that dot mean? Times. So we are multiplying them. So we are taking 7 times negative 13, which equals negative 91. So g of negative 3 times h of negative 3 is negative 91. Go ahead and do number 4 for a U try. The whole thing is so cute. Oh, love this. That part is right. Double check again what that answer would be. And make sure you go in the right order because it has the f of 5 first on this. So again, the order is important here. So it's f of 5 minus g of 5. So it's 9 minus 35, which gives us what? Negative 26, right? Our answer is negative 26. Does that make sense? Okay. Last two. You guys still looking at this? Okay, so our notation is different here. It says g times f of 2. It means the same thing. It really means the same as g of 2 times f of 2. It's just written differently. So you have to recognize both those different types of notation. So we're still going to find our g of 2. Our g of 2 would be 4 times 2 plus 3. 8 plus 3 are 11. H of 2 is 2 squared minus 3 times 2. 4 minus 6, which equals negative 2. And so this dot means multiplication. So we're taking those two answers and multiplying them. So we take 11 times negative 2, which is negative 22. So just make sure you make it really clear what your answer is. Like I see some of you boxing them or circling them, putting them right next to it, right there, and circling it. That's great. And then this one, same thing. It's an f, or g plus f of 8. Again, we're finding the g of 8 plus f of 8. So just one thing to mention is that sometimes students will mistake this parentheses with an 8 as multiplication. Remember, that means function notation. So we're taking the g of 8 plus f of 8 and substituting each one in. Would you like me to continue with this one, or you think you got it? Got it. Okay, so your answer your homework is on the back, so go ahead and do that for your homework. And then please have your homework out and I'll check that off. Homework.